You had nowhere else to go.
I didn't need to move in anyway. Andile made me move into his house. I was living in Sunninghill Bay.
With the other guy that you
Living with
cheated
who?
on with your husband.
What other guy?
I'm not mentioning names. You want me not
I
to
didn't
put our
cheat.
names out there?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god. Oh my god. My face is just like Louis watching this scene because I am so embarrassed. I want to hide. I can't even find anywhere to hide. The fact that these ladies were going back and forth and Nadia didn't say anything. I think Zari saw it and realized that maybe Andile might not be the one for her. She doesn't want to be in this mix where there's two toxic baby mamas because of the way they're sort of, going back and forth. But anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Young, Famous and African Season 2, Episode 6. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and a comment. Oh my god, the scene at the event that SWANKY hosted didn't need to be 2 episodes really. It should have started and ended there because there was nothing to the fight. It's just SWANKY looking for attention. And I have to say, Kanye is right that SWANKY has lost Annie. And because he's lost Annie, he's decided to look for a new friend to replace Annie. And I think for him, Bonang was that. And now that Bonang has left the group, he's left with no one. He needs a storyline. Annie has decided to squash the beef, so he can't go to that. Bonang has left the group, so which means the person he brought in has left. He's got no storyline there. And I think for him, all this uproar is just because he's looking for a storyline. I'm sorry, but that's how I see it because it seems that's all they do. It seems everybody's always in a beef with someone. We never see someone start a project. We never see anyone do anything different outside of Lois, who's decided to go on a date. But we never see anything different outside of fights. And I think him fighting with Lois is one on the part that he's lost his friend who he thought was going to ride with him for the rest of the season. 2, he's blaming it on Lois, that the reason why his friend has left. And Lois has nothing to do with Bonang leaving because Bonang and Lois, their disagreement was very petty and very minor. Bonang decided to bring herself into the situation between Fantana and Lois. And so you can't blame Lois for that. I don't get why SWANKY has really decided to go all out for Bonang. And then Lois, oh my god. He sits down to have a conversation with Kanye, and I think Kanye only took one side of that conversation and ran with it because he says he wants to research surrogacy because this is something that's not common in Namibia. And since he's heard that Zari wants to do surrogacy, he's happy to research with her and he doesn't know whether to approach her. So he's happy to research with her. That's the first part of it. And also, he's happy for Zari to donate her egg for him if she wants, and he is happy to donate his sperm for her if she wants. So I don't know whether it would mean they would end up having 2 babies and this one will take theirs and that one will take theirs. That part I didn't understand. I think, yes, Kanye brought him to the group. I think he should have waited. I think it's too soon. I think he should have waited and spoken to maybe Zari herself directly instead of getting someone else to run with it to Zari because they would never have relayed it the same way he said it. And then SWANKY has alienated everybody. That's why he's meeting up with Kaylee. That's why, in my opinion, because why didn't he meet up with Zari? Zari is his friend. I don't get why he met up with Kaylee. Kaylee was just there to nod her head and say yes, no, and then pick up her bag and go home. Because that fight didn't make any sense, and I don't get why we have to sort of sit there and listen to SWANKY. I get the girls, Nadia and Kanye saying, the reason why SWANKY's upset is because he's looking for a new friend, and Bonang was his friend. And so because she's left the group and he's not getting along with Annie, he's now looking to sort of alienate the rest of the group because he feels aggrieved. And it doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense. Anyway, I digress. And to me, as I said before, it does not make sense. He should not be that offended. He should have sat down with his friend, found out the reason why she was leaving the group, and then come back to the group. Instead of saying, my friend has left the WhatsApp group. Well, she said, oh, people were not welcoming and whatever. And it's like, how welcoming did you want them to be? Everybody else who's come to the group, they've been welcomed the same. It's just maybe she didn't feel comfortable working in a group, or she came into the group thinking that since she had accomplished the most, she would be the head of the group. But that doesn't make sense because this group has already been together for a year. You can't walk in and then suddenly you want to be the head of the group. This is why Zari had a lot of problems in season 1. But hey, I digress. Lolis's date with Fontana was a waste of time. don't even know. It was romantic that he decided to take her on a date where they learn to dance. But the problem is Fantana cannot move. And he kept mentioning that how can she not move when she has all the assets there? Why is she struggling to move? Why is she struggling? And it was just a basic dance that you'd expect her to be able to catch that, but she really struggled. It's sad. She really struggled. It was terrible. And it was ballroom dancing of all things, which is, it's not like he took her to a twerk fest or something like that. Then you say, oh, it's inappropriate. But he was trying to be romantic, and it's a pity she didn't catch on. And then Andile, we finally see him. He meets up with Naked, talking about, now that him and Zari have broken up, he's decided he wants to be in a committed relationship. So he's trying to see if he can make things work with one of his ex-baby mamas. And it's just like, why, Andile? Why? You really don't need that. You don't really need that. They are an ex for a reason. You need to move on. It doesn't matter that, yes, you've got 2 babies with each, but you need to move on because there's a lot of history there, and you're going to always have issues because they're always going to pick up on that. Suddenly this season, he's very close to Annie and Two-Face. I don't know whether it's because they are the ones that insisted that they wanted to be filmed with him, or maybe they just decided to get suddenly clicked on something. I don't know. So he brings his second baby mama to Annie and to Papa because he says his relationship with her reminds him of Two-Face and Annie, and so he wants to find out how they were able to make things work and how they sort of navigate their relationship. Which, okay, given what Tubaba was saying at the dinner table the other day, I don't think he's the best person to be asking for advice. But anyway, I don't know. I think because Bonang left suddenly, there was a big gap left, and the producers needed a storyline. And because Kanye and Andile are not getting along, I think Andile was offered the opportunity to say, okay, so what do you want to do if you don't want to film with Kanye? Give us an alternative. And I think he agreed to bring in his baby mama. I liked how flirty he was. There's still something going on with his second baby mama. Even his first baby mama, there's a lot of things going on there. So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know why Andile has decided to go down this route. Whether he feels he's now getting old and he wants to settle down. He was asking Two-Face, what made you think, it's time to get married? And Two-Face was, well, I built a house. And then once I built the house, I realized that I needed someone to be in it. That's when I asked Annie to marry me. And it's like, that shouldn't be enough reason for you, though. So if you hadn't built the house, you wouldn't have married her. Is that what you're saying? That doesn't make no sense. Anyway, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that you only realized you needed her because you built a house. So if you hadn't built the house, you wouldn't need her to be your wife. Is that all she is to you? Someone that stays in your house? Is there no emotional connection or anything else there that would make you want to have her there with you all the time? I'm sorry, I tried to be a neutral party, but I like Rosetta. I think of the Andile's 2 baby mamas, I like her. I think she's a free spirit. I think she's easygoing. I think she's a go with the flow type of chick. So I really love her. I liked her meet up with Andile. There's still something there. There's no boundaries. Andile doesn't have boundaries with his baby mamas. And this is why he's had not 1 child, but 2 children by them, because he makes them feel so comfortable and they forget that, he's just a hit it and quit it. And they think there's something a lot more going on, and this is why he's never going to be able to get someone to settle down with him unless he can settle the issues with his baby mamas and set boundaries with them for them to understand that, okay, we're just co-parenting. There's no flirting, there's no touching, there's no inappropriate language at all. Anyway, he decides to invite both of them, Seba and Rosetta, to Zari's birthday party, and that didn't make sense. That was awkward because Rosetta was the first to arrive, and Zari was asked, "Oh, you invited her?" And she went, "No, I invited Andile. I didn't invite her." And it's like, Andile, why are you being so messy? But Rosetta was easygoing. She sat right next to Zari. She didn't seem uncomfortable, whatever. But Andile came, greeted her, and I think everybody sighed a sigh of relief as soon as they sort of saw that Rosetta and Andile were cool, although Kaylee was saying she doesn't like their relationship. She thinks there are no boundaries there. She thinks it's inappropriate. She thinks they should focus on the children, which I agree with. Zari was like, oh my God, It seems like we're going to be one big happy family. I think Andile was trying to set boundaries with Zari, but forgot to set boundaries with the two ladies, because I think he wanted to let Zari know that, no, you and I are done. I'm not coming after you. I'm trying to sort out whatever issues I have with my baby mamas, because I think he values his relationship with Diamond more than anything else. And I think this is why he wanted Zari to know that there's no going back between the two of them. And then right on time, Kanye arrived. She was cool, but then Seba arrived soon after. I'm appreciative. I am raising my hands up. I appreciate Seba and Rosetta for coming in, because they brought in a different type of beef and they were coming in hot. Oh my god, the fact that sparks were flying and poor Louis was sitting in the middle, and it was like he was watching a game of tennis, because one would hit one side and then he would swing his head, and oh my god, I think Seba should leave Andile alone. Andile seems to have a more tighter connection with Rosetta, and I think he will ride for Rosetta, as Seba said. And so the idea that she would want anything to do with Andile doesn't make any sense for me. It doesn't make any sense. I think she should just mind her own business, because they were going back and forth, as in, you know, they used to be friends before Seba had a child with Andile, and then things went left. Seba feels that Rosetta is always asking Andile to do stuff for her that she feels are inappropriate, and it's like, if she has children with him, and if she asks him for favors, he has to do it. Unless she's telling him to come into her bedroom, then that's not it. But if she's telling him, I need you to come and fix my TV, his children at the end of the day are enjoying the TV. If she's telling him, this is broken, it needs to be fixed, he has to. That's the agreement that they have. And Seba can't start complaining to say, oh, Rosetta doesn't respect boundaries. Rosetta and Andile were a thing before Seba and Andile were a thing. They should have set boundaries as soon as they started dating. They didn't set boundaries, and now they're trying to sort of go back and forth. I like the drama though. I like how classy they were, and they're just throwing shade and just reading each other back and forth. There was no shoes flying, no cat fighting, nothing. They just sat in their seats and just said their piece. And then Fantana, for her to sit up and sort of say, oh, you know, this is Zari's birthday. Well, besides that, all we would have seen is just seeing people eating, so that's not appropriate. I think it was nice to see them, you know, just enjoy themselves and have this beef and not have an issue. And Swanky came in. Swanky was just looking for beef with someone, and Swanky has set his sights on Lois. And sadly, Lois is not the type of person that likes beef. For him to complain that people are not listening to what Onang said and are choosing to sort of focus on what Lois is saying and stick to Lois doesn't make any sense. And that's the reason why I think he was telling Fantana where to sit and not to sit next to Lois. And it's like, what do you think he's going to do? Are you saying he's a pervert and he's going to try and do something to her? I felt that was inappropriate. I felt he was just looking for trouble, and I felt he should have minded his own business. And I am happy that Lois tried to stand up to leave the room. They should have allowed him to leave the room, because it wasn't necessary for him to be involved in this mess with Swanky. I think the Swanky beef is getting old. I think we would rather have had more Rosetta and Seba issues, because they were shading each other, you know, in a way that I really enjoyed. I don't know. I feel sorry for Louis, because he's not that type of guy who's very confrontational. I think this is not his thing. Everybody was taken aback because they couldn't understand why Swanky was being like that. Swanky, I think, tried to ride hard for Wonang with NADIA and Kanye, and realized that they wouldn't take sides with him. And so now he's decided to focus all his anger on Louis and make it seem like, you know, he's the aggrieved party, when Louis had no issue with him. Even Zari, who was at the party, is sort of taken aback and doesn't understand what's going on. So I don't get why Swanky is like that. I think Swanky needs to focus on whatever he does and leave people alone and stop trying to create beef that is unnecessary just for a storyline. Anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Bye everyone.